Hi everyone, Steve here from RSM. Thank you for joining us. Today I am joined by Neale O'Connell. Neale is the Chief Financial Officer of Corporate Travel Management. Neale, thanks very
Thanks,
much
Dave.
for joining
Thanks,
us. Really
for
good
the
to see
opportunity.
you. And the idea, as everyone knows, behind these is that we have a virtual coffee and a bit of a chat reflecting the times that we've been in. Fortunately, today we're doing something a little bit different in that we're actually having a chat in a coffee shop. Our local coffee house, Botero, they do excellent coffee. Have been good enough to let us use their premises. So welcome, Neale.
And we're observing all the social distancing.
Indeed, we are. We are absolutely observing the appropriate rules.
Yep.
Look, this is all about having a chat over a coffee, as we do from time to time anyway. But perhaps if you could share with us what you're drinking today, what's your drink of choice?
My drink of choice is actually an English breakfast tea. So even though it's a coffee conversation, that you'll be drinking the coffee and I'll be drinking the tea. So
Excellent.
I'm a long-time tea drinker.
Very good, and I'm a long-time coffee drinker, as others know, and my coffee of choice today, at least, is the piccolo.
Yep.
So again, look, thanks for joining us, Neale. Maybe to kick things off, if you could tell us a little bit about you and your background.
Yeah, no problem. So I have worked obviously in the finance industry for a long time, in public companies for a very long time. So the first 10 years I worked in various chartered accounting firms here and overseas. Then spent 10 years or so in what affectionately is called metal bashing, so the steel industry and allied industries associated with that. A couple of public companies, one in Australia and one overseas. Then moved into the gambling industry for 15 years with Tats Group and left there with the merger with Tabcorp. And in the last 12 months, joined Corporate Travel as you said, the global CFO for Corporate Travel. So it's been interesting times, but it's been a very enjoyable journey.
No, I'm sure it has. And perhaps if you could share with us a little about Corporate Travel.
Yeah, so Corporate Travel was founded by Jamie Ferris in 26 years ago. So literally in his garage, and so identified an area of the market where the corporate traveller was not being well looked after. So since then, it's expanded and is in 4 major regions around the world now. So there's a base in Hong Kong, which services our Asian business, our UK business and European business. And then we've got our US business as well as Australian New Zealand business. So it's broadly a quarter in each region. So very, a genuine global business and a genuine Australian success story.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant. And look, Neale, one of the things that we'd like to talk here about is kind of the challenges that businesses face, and certainly, I mean, we all face our own challenges in the current environment, but travel, must occupy a special space in that regard. Could you share with us some of the challenges that you've been dealing with over the last few months?
Yes, look, the last 6 months, like for all businesses, have been incredibly challenging on a number of fronts, personally and obviously from a professional and from a work perspective. And these issues about working from home and remaining connected with staff, but I think. And travel and tourism has been top of the agenda. As I said, we're a corporate travel company, so with all our clients are generally speaking in corporate who have been affected in different ways, and I'll cover off that in a little bit more detail. But our first stage, like everyone else, was that when we were all in lockdown in Queensland and had to work from home, had to look at our cost base and what was the outlook in a very uncertain situation. No one really knew how long this was going to last. Still don't in some respects. So we had to shape our workforce accordingly and make decisions around the globe, taking into account the various aspects that were occurring in each region, which were different. For example, in Australia, there was JobKeeper that came out reasonably quickly. In Asia, that took a few few more weeks to arise. It was a different structure in the UK and in the end, not much in the US. So we have got a very strong local regional management team in each of those locations. So working with each of those teams about how best to, make the changes we need to make, which unfortunately meant a lot of restructuring very quickly. And so that meant over 1,000 staff have been made redundant, which is a very difficult process for all of us, and particularly those regional teams. So we've been working through, again, in that initial few weeks, everything was done remotely. So that made it extremely difficult from a personal point of view, and Jamie and Laura and myself to keep people in making those decisions, in getting the local teams to affect those changes that need to be made. So it's been a complex process, but on the positive side, we've been able to, get the cost base down to where we committed to getting it to. We have very much a capital light model that we operate. We don't have stores, so and we have been able to generate revenue through our essential services clients. That being government, healthcare, mining industry, in particular around the globe. That is, and those who operate in a domestic market. So that's been a real, out of some very dark times, some nice positives.
Yeah, no, that's really good to hear. And they say every cloud has a silver lining. So, in terms of the opportunities, were there any that sort of came from left field that you weren't expecting, or any other specific opportunities that you've seen in the business that obviously you'll be taking forward once all this is over as well?
Yeah, being relatively new to the business, only joined the company last July, so 6 months of I'll call it reasonably normal activity, and albeit some challenges around the world, to a situation which is unprecedented. So it was interesting to see within the business getting a far greater understanding of what was the detail. In some areas, and also what sort of opportunities from a cost perspective we could take out of the business that we expect not to return.
Yeah.
So that, as the old saying goes, necessity is the mother of invention, and we had to think a lot differently, and our senior leaders had to think a lot differently about how they look at their business, and particularly as we see that international travel may take a while to come back. We wanted to reshape our business to very much a domestic-only business, or predominantly domestic, with the ability to service international as it gradually comes back. But so to look at it through that lens, to look through some of the automation processes that we could take up. Our finance team, who were all under 12 months experience with the company in our global finance team, have taken great opportunities, for example, to streamline some of the processes around the globe, and that's been a huge benefit, as well as the incredible efforts made by people. And what I've found is the morale in an extraordinarily difficult and challenging time has remained pretty high, considering, as I said, all those challenges that we've faced.
Yeah. No, look, that's a really positive way to finish. So, Neale, thanks so much for sharing your thoughts with us. Thanks, everyone, for joining us once again. Some really interesting insights that Neale shared with us. And I'm sure if anyone has any questions or wants to follow anything up, please come through to us. So again, thank you for joining us. Neale, thanks so much.
Thanks, Steve.
For catching up, and look forward to catching up again very soon.
Thanks. All the best to everyone.
Thank you. Likewise. Thanks.